Not that long ago, I got to sit down with some of the creators working on the new James Bond video game. Now, this took place a while back during an event, but I wanted to make sure that you got to see the interviews and hear what they said about this world that they are creating. Now, granted, this is an event situation, so sometimes the audio can be a little bit wonky, but here it is. So, Bond, youngest Bond ever. What's it like exploring that era of his life?
It's an honor, I would say, but also quite scary because it's kind of a huge thing to do. It's not been observed too much, for instance, in the movies. We took a lot of inspiration from the books. For instance, as you see, like the scar he has on the face, for instance, because he was that's how he's described in the books. And working on that character is interesting in the sense that you are not just taking the character as he's seen in the movies. You have to kind of build a character and his origin story that led to the character that you know today. And that goes through, well, his personality, first of all. I mean, we all know he's super suave and charming and so on. We have to work with a character that's a little more rough on that side. He has a lot of charm, but maybe he has not weaponized it yet. He's still, he goes head on, but sometimes he's maybe a little reckless because he's young, right? And building that character meant also we had to look into the persons, the staff that has shaped him. So you were saying today we worked on a new version of M, of Q, of Moneypenny, so characters that we know from the past, but we had taken a new spin on them. For instance, Q, which I really like, he's an older man in the game, and he's a very classy man. The nice watch, the nice scarf. He has a great sense of class, and that's him who's going to teach that to Bond, because he's not quite there yet in terms of class. He still has to learn how to behave in nice places. He's more like crashing the party right now. He's the young 26 years old, right? So.
And how long have you been working on the game?
Well, since pretty much since the announcement we had made for the project in November or December 2020, sorry.
Yeah. Okay. So like 5 years, about?
Yeah.
Maybe 4 or 5 years?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. And when did you know that you got the Bond franchise?
Around that time frame also. Yeah. We've been working on pitches and concepts, and we were talking back and forth until the teams at MGM were telling us that that's great, and they would love to partner with us and bring back Bond to gaming, because it's been a while that they had stepped away from it. But when we had all those talks, and when they saw what we've done with Hitman, which was more than just shooting, right? There was a lot of social stealth and espionage, and it's a film that we treat really well in that game. So the pedigree of the studio helped a lot. In landing that opportunity.
And how's it been working with MGM? Like, do they dictate a lot of the storytelling, or is this like a different reality that lets you get away with stuff? Like, how does that work?
It's great. They're working really close to us. Actually, we're on contact weekly, or even twice a week on some topics. The thing that I really appreciate working with them is that they don't see this game as a side project. For them, it's a very important piece, and they look at it as they would look the movies. And I love that, because it gives you feel they really care, they're really invested. They were here today at the showcase, and yes, we work really. I mean, when you're bringing and designing a new James Bond, of course, they want to be very involved, and we're working on a version of the origin story of Bond, and I think they had a lot of fun working on that too with us and creating that story.
Tell me about your interpretation of M. M is one of my favorite characters in the Bond series. She's really the one running the show. What's it like with this particular version of the character? Is she different? Is she younger? Like, is she running MI6? Like,
so if you compare with Judi Dench, I guess.
Yeah.
Rather than
Well, Judi Dench, come on, that's
Yeah. But there was an actor after her, so that's why I was wondering. She's younger, and we are approaching. So when Bond gets recruited in MI6 in the game, the double program had been closed, shut down, and M is the one that believes into agents on the field and their freedom of judgment, if you will. So she just recently reinstating it, and she believes in it. Her career is on the line at that moment. For instance, a former 00 Greenway is the one who's going to train some recruits, including Bond. And he thinks he's just too strong-headed, so he's not listening to orders, and he thinks it's going to be a catastrophe, but M really believes in him. And so that's the kind of role she has in the game. And he has a lot of people that are going against him, but M is the one that believes in him in the game.
And Moneypenny, they're definitely going to smooch, right?
You're right, actually. I forget about Moneypenny. Yes.
Yeah.
She sometimes also put their career on the line, in the sense that Bond is going off the rails, and you'll see that he's asking for a favor, and she's like, Bond, I should really not do this, but yeah, I'll help you out now because I believe it's the right thing to do. So yes, it happens as well, and they are getting friendship very quickly.
Friendship?
Friendship.
Okay. I always like the banter between them because it's like they want to go there, but they don't quite go there. Well, in one of the movies they did.
I don't want to spoil too much, but there is a bit of that in the game, yes.
Okay. There's a bluffing system in the game, right?
Yes.
Like where you can sort of like lie to the guards. How does that mechanic work? How do you build up trust with them, or how do you mislead them?
So the game is an action adventure, and of course we have stealth and espionage as a pedigree at IO, and it fits really well with the IP. But we're thinking if we just do that, we're not bringing anything new then to the genre. So we're thinking, where can we bring some novelty to the genre? And bluff and charm are so strong in the Bond IP, and it defines the character. We're looking into ways to define that in gameplay. It's too early to talk about it today because gameplay will be revealed in the summer, but we approached bluff and charm as a third way to approach things. So, you could go all guns blazing, you could stealth your way in, but there is also a charm that can be used sporadically to go get away from a bad situation or get in, and get an invitation, get a ticket, seduce someone a little bit and pass by.
And you're targeting 60?
Targeting what?
What's the frame rate you're targeting?
I think, don't quote me on this one, I'm recording at 60 FPS. I think so. I'm not the tech guy, but yes, I think so.
Okay, and then all current consoles, obviously PC, right? Like it's going to launch on everything basically?
On all the modern consoles, yes.
Including Switch 2? Because Hitman came to Switch 2 today.
I believe so as well, yes. So PS5, Xbox, PC, Switch 2.
Okay, great. So, vehicles.
It's a DBS 1969, if I'm not mistaken. And it's a car we picked because, of course, we could have gone with the original DBS, but we wanted to have our own take on that, and we went through the archives of older Aston Martin cars, and we felt this one had a lot of charm and was maybe a little underused, so we picked it for the level that you saw.
You brought up Q earlier. We're talking about cars. Are there some goodies on the Aston Martin?
Not on this one.
Okay. But he does have a watch with the laser beam in it. I think we saw that in the trailer.
Yes, gadgets.
And some other gadgets. Can you tell me a little bit more about what you've teased and maybe give me a hint about what we can expect?
So Bond is trying, he's coming into a Q lab and he's in awe in front of all the things he sees, like the motorbike spitting fire, the watch, and everything. It feels a little bit like discovering a secret world, right? And it's almost like magic. He's not trusted with all the gadgets yet, so he's getting them as you go through the levels and so on as he grows, and he gets more trust from Q and MI6. But I don't want to say too much about gadgets because then it's revealing a lot about gameplay, and we're keeping that for the summer.
Okay. Tell me everything about gameplay.
I'll keep that for the summer.
One of the partners you listed was NVIDIA, and I believe there was some sort of AI technology involved. Tell me a little bit more about how AI is going to be integrated into the experience.
So we're not working on AI specifically with NVIDIA. What we're doing is we're bringing ray tracing technology to this game, working closely with NVIDIA.
It's been 10 years since the last time that we saw James Bond entry into the franchise. Do you look at the old games? Do you look at modern games that have done stealth really well? What's your process when you're trying to flesh out what the idea of this entry into the Bond series of games is going to be?
Yeah, it's a big question.
Yeah.
So I think everything that's creative, narrative, again, as I was saying earlier, it's very much based on the books. And that's how we created our Bond. For the game itself, obviously, we looked into a lot of what we've done with Hitman, because there's so much. It's kind of a match made in heaven to have IO work on this game, and we are, of course, venturing in new paths. Like we've never done driving before. The gunplay is something that has not been explored much in Hitman, and we're doing with 007 now. So looking at benchmarks, we're of course looking at all our other partners in the industry are working on, and all the great games, of course, to come up with great mechanics.
What were some examples? Can you give me some examples of okay, we really like this mechanic?
So I'm the franchise director, so I was not working on mechanics directly.
Okay.
But I would say a lot of the successful action adventure games we looked at, of course, because it's something that we wanted to really nail, of course, with this game and making a big impact in that genre.
Maybe you can tell me more about Bond's partnership and his mentor, who's going to be teaching him. What's that relation? It seems like contentious in all the assets that you've released thus far. And you worked with MGM. Is that a character that's from the novels that's being integrated into gameplay?
No, it's a new character. We're introducing new characters. Mm-hmm. So you've seen in the trailer a mysterious lady, which will be revealed a bit more later. Greenway, his mentor, is completely coming from for this story. So he's not from the books or anything like that. We thought it would be great to have a mentor for him, and the relationship they have is very cold at the start, I would say. It's a little bit of a generation clash. He's older, he's a almost retired 00 agent, training the recruits, and then you have the young one coming in, being successful and a bit hot-headed. So they have a bit of that generational conflict between them for a great part of the game. Yeah.
009 is also mentioned in the trailer. Can you tell me a little bit more about, just give me some context? Is that a character from the books, or is that also invented for the game?
It's invented for the game. I can't recall. There was probably 009s in the books and things like that, but we've created one for this game specifically. Yeah.
Okay, and you can't, they said he's like a deceptive mastermind?
Too early to say.
Okay. 10 years, it's a long time. You're bringing back the game. How do you feel about it? Are you just excited to be working on Bond? Do you think fans are really gonna latch onto it like they did with something like GoldenEye is obviously the one that a lot of us, I remember that when I was a kid. Mm-hmm. Do you think this is going to have that sort of same magic? Can any game have that same magic?
So it's
because it was revolutionary.
It's two very different games, right?
Yeah.
The other game was first-person multiplayer, and it made its success. Right. This game is third-person and single-player. So I would say they're kind of on the opposite sides of the spectrum. But I think we really have something truly special in our hands. I mean, obviously, I'm playing the game because I have it in the studio, right? And we are doing something really unique, I think. And I love it. I'm sure players are gonna love it. Well, I really hope so. The reception of the trailer is really heartwarming. It's really exciting to see that people are really so eager to put their hands on a James Bond game again. And really, I think bringing this IP into the action adventure genre with a bit of stealth for the espionage part is it feels so right for this license that yes, I think we have a great chance to be very successful with it.
Can you tell us about locations we're going to see and why you picked those destinations?
So locations are going to be revealed as we go during the course of the marketing campaign, but we've revealed a few today. And of course, with Bond, you always look into exotic locations, locations you wish you could go, but cannot for some reason. And for us, there was a lot of there was a few locations, for instance, that are maybe too dangerous to go to. That kind of tourism either is too cold or a little dangerous, or so it's some of these locations we're gonna use in the game.
In your opinion, who was the best Bond, in your opinion, and who was your least favorite Bond?
Well,
just your personal opinion.
My personal opinion.
Yeah.
Well, I have to say, my James Bond, the James Bond from the game, is my favorite as of now.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Let me ask you another way: Pierce Brosnan or Sean Connery?
Sean Connery.
Okay, there. That was an easy one, right? I set you up on that one. All right. Was there a question I didn't ask that you wish I would have asked today?
I think you covered a lot of ground. No, I think it's we've talked a lot about the character, and I think it's good to mention that we're treating it as a take on a young Bond, right? That we're defining what Bond could have looked like at 26 years old, and what the cast around him would look like, and building that first story that led him to be recruited by MI6. I think is what we wanted to come across today from the trailer. The announce was very much about introducing, this new character, his new world around him, and for everything that's gameplay, we'll come back soon and show you some exciting things.
Well, I'm very much looking forward to it. I'm a big Bond fan. I played many of the games, and I can't wait to see your take on it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Very excited to hear from you about the novels and what you took from the novels and how you implemented that into this version of Bond.
Yeah, so in doing an origin story, I think it was interesting. What we wanted to do is we wanted to do a fresh take on this character. And obviously this is a character that everyone knows. He's embedded in like the pop culture shared consciousness after 62 years. But if you really want to familiarize yourself with kind of the DNA of the character and when he comes from, obviously that's Ian Fleming and that's the books. Mm-hmm. And so going back and reading those, obviously, like they're great books. They're just really good books. And he's a really interesting character. And obviously in those books in the 50s, he's a product of World War II, but there are timeless qualities to him. There's this kind of dogged, ruthlessness. Like he's someone who's going to get it done. He will not give up, and he's someone who's irreverent, and he's charming, and all those qualities are there in the books. And so it makes it kind of taking that and bringing that into into a contemporary setting, as we are with First Light, and with a young guy. That was a great challenge and a lot of fun.
In addition to Bond, one of my favorite characters is M, actually.
Yeah,
and
great character.
This is a younger M.
It is.
Like Judi Dench is who I associate, I think, the most.
Of course.
With the character. How do you take M, make her younger, and put her into this new setting?
How we do that?
Yeah, like what was your inspiration? How did you decide to play the character?
Yeah, so doing an origin story, obviously we're doing our take on the surrounding cast as well.
Yeah.
And so how we look at how we use the surrounding cast a little bit is also to inform Bond a little bit. So when we meet him, obviously he doesn't know all the things about James Bond that we know about James Bond, because he's just stepping into this world for the first time with us. And so having some of the qualities that we know him to have kind of be informed by this surrounding cast is an interesting dynamic. We wanted an M that was another take. I mean, you can't compete like with Judi Dench, obviously. Yeah. But I think we have a great and a younger take on M. That is someone who really truly sees the potential of Bond in a way that, like, she's savvy I think M is a really savvy character and has been through the years. And there's this kind of easy confidence as well that you need for someone like M. She's a great character.
You're also bringing us to some unique locations. How did you determine what we're going to be looking at, where we're going to be going in this series?
How we determine that?
Yeah, like why did you pick the locations you chose?
I mean, I can't reveal the exact locations, but
Well, you choose the mountain.
I mean, there's definitely a lot of them in the trailer. Well, you want, like, Bond has always been, you know, the vacation you couldn't afford, and I think we can very much deliver on that. And in the gaming medium, you get to be there truly. I mean, that's the beauty of the gaming medium, is that you get to experience firsthand these locations and these cultures. But that, you know, it brings a lot of color and intrigue to the universe. Yeah.
You've been working on this for about 4 or 5 years?
Yeah, it's been a long time.
What was most exciting for you when you heard you're going to be working with 007?
What was most exciting?
As a story.
Yeah. I think the interesting thing was when I learned about it, I kind of like this part of my brain kind of unfolded and went like, well, you already know all this stuff about Bond, because as a lot of other people, I've been sitting in front of the TV from like age 7 watching these things. So what was most exciting? I mean, it's just, he's a great character. I think he hasn't been overexposed as well, so there's still some facets. There's stuff to go, and I think there's some vitamins still to go and explore and find and investigate. And I think that's really exciting. And then he's just a good time, right? It's just, you want to be there, like the world of James Bond. Like who wouldn't want to spend time there?
What about Moneypenny and Q and this new character that is being introduced to us? What's it like introducing a whole new person into the universe?
I mean, there's always been new characters like.
But you get to craft that.
Oh yeah, sure.
That's really cool.
But everything is very cool. Like now, the backdrop is coming down.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really exciting, and you know, you need to surround him with a cast that can support the story that you want to tell, and. Yeah, I don't know if you can be like more specific.
I don't know. Like if I was working on a James Bond game,
yeah.
And they're like, you can do whatever you want within reason, and I hear you're working with MGM closely, right? I would be stoked. I'd be like, all right,
yeah.
Here's the story that I want to craft with like what's happening with
yeah.
Bond. So I'd love to like hear from you as the narrative director.
I mean, breaking stories.
Like?
Yeah, I mean, it's just great. I mean, it's getting to do the thing you love most in kind of in a universe that you love, and so lots of like deep, you know, rabbit holes and like interesting kind of what ifs and all that stuff. Like that is what's so great about working with storytelling, is where do you want to go? Like what if this happened? Like it's just a pleasure.
And he's not like the Pierce Brosnan Bond. He's not the Sean Connery. He's the young guy.
Yeah.
So is there any sort of lack of confidence, or maybe not lack of confidence, but maybe he's a little bit too reckless?
Yes. Yeah. So I mean, definitely, he's reckless. There's an impatience to him. You know, I think where a more mature Bond is able to, you know, play the long game a little more than I think maybe our guy is. Like he's a very dynamic guy. There's a lot of momentum. Sorry for using that word a lot.
That's okay. Yeah. And Q is a little bit more posh, a little more well-dressed.
Yeah.
Why? Why did you go that route with him? Why did you change him a little bit?
Yeah. Sorry, I think it's because it's 6 a.m. in Copenhagen.
No
Flew
worries
over
at all.
yesterday.
Yeah.
My brain is kind of not the fastest brain.
I was really excited to talk to you because, like, I think writing, and I'm like, well, where's his brain at with everything? So no pressure at all.
No, but it's also the, like, what can we say about characters at this point?
Because you don't want to spoil.
We don't want to spoil anything.
Yeah.
I mean, Q is a beloved character.
But yeah, the other gentleman mentioned that like he's more well dressed and a little bit more.
Yeah, he's like so for Q. few, like I was talking about before, this idea of the surrounding cast informing Bond a little bit. Like Q is someone who's very sartorial and has a great eye for, you know, the cut and the fabric and all that stuff. So we're kind of like looking into whether he's like, maybe that's where Bond kind of learned some of those things, and that might be why he's wearing an Omega, for instance.
Yeah. Well, they are tearing the stage
are,
down right around us. What is one question I didn't ask you that you wish I would have?
That you wish that I wish you wouldn't ask?
That I would have asked. Yeah. Well, now I need to know what were you like? Please,
I have a few. I'm blanking. Sorry, I'm not a good interview subject right now.
It's okay. What was something you were like, I really want to talk about this about the game? Anything?
We did talk about, you know, yeah, we did, yeah. No, I think we've been pretty good at it.
The scar? You didn't even bring up the scar, did you?
That's true. Yeah, the scar's there. He hasn't had the scar before. And which really is a signifier for, this is, we very much look to Fleming for this guy, and the scar is definitely a signifier of that, for sure.
I noticed it right away. I was like, that's definitely a unique thing.
It is, yeah.
All right, simple question. The other guy got it right. Who was better, Pierce Brosnan or Sean Connery?
Sean Connery?
Yeah, okay, good. It's the test. It's the test. Bond is in good hands. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, pleasure.
Yeah.
A huge thank you to the IOI team for having me out at their event. It was great, and I can't wait to play James Bond whenever it comes out. Very excited to see what they do with the game and what they do with some of the characters. Thanks for watching, everybody. Please consider hitting that subscribe button, hitting that bell if you like my content. I really do appreciate if you would do so, or you can become a member. Chris Freddy, Philaroni, Spingetter, and Aries EMS. I greatly appreciate you supporting at the top level, as well as all of the other backers. You can join to become a member on YouTube, support the same way, or become a patron over at patreon.com/SaveStatePlus. Now, I'm going to get out of here, but I have a bunch of coverage. You can check out my Borderlands 4 coverage right here, and I'll see you for the next one. Bye for now, everybody.